Hello, and welcome to the Rose City After Show, the podcast where we dive into the world of the popular novel Rose City by author Corenna Khieu. In each episode, we will be discussing a different aspect of the book, from the complex characters to the intricate plot twists and everything in between. Make sure to check out Rose City on Kindle Vella to stay up to date as we explore unique perspectives and insight on the story. Today, we will start off with our nice news from no one other than the very famous Corenna Khieu. Take it away.
My name is My name is Corenna Khieu, and our nice news of the day is about how a teen helped pass a law that allows students to take mental health days. A 2019 CDC study found that more than 1 in 3 students reported ongoing feelings of sadness and hopelessness, and Haley Hardcastle once counted herself among them. As a high school student, Hardcastle decided to be proactive about addressing the problems and help create and pass a law in Oregon that gives students the right to take days off from school for mental health. The law not only provides relief for students who are struggling mentally, but also emphasizes the importance of acknowledging such issues by allowing mental health and physical health to be on the same playing field. The inspiration behind the idea came from her mom, who allowed Hardcastle to take up to 3 days off from school as mental health days each year. I could go to my mom and tell her I was feeling heavy, Hardcastle explained. But even more powerful than being able to take the days off was the assurance that it gave me that my mental health was important. And her impact has now gone far beyond her home state. Since the Oregon law went into effect in 2019, 11 other states have passed similar legislation, which I think is great. And I hope more people will incorporate this into their school systems, even on jobs. You know, I feel like it's very important for people to take time to, address these issues, and then they could possibly get better workers by doing so. So if you guys would like to wake up to good news instead of that other depressing negativity, you can subscribe to the Nice newsletter at nicenews.com. And I'll pass it over to Corwin for our quote of the day.
Yes. Well, good morning. My name is Corwin. I am the quote of the day man. The quote of today is, love yourself before you love anyone else. And I liken this to when you're on an airplane and the attendants are telling you to, before you give anyone else an air mask or help anyone else with their flotation devices, do it for yourself. You can't help out anyone unless you help out yourself. And you really can't love others. You first learn to love yourself. So with that in mind, I do want to make a quick comment about the Mental Health Day. I think that it's a very powerful thing that is needed. But when I was growing up, I thought, okay, that's another thing. Let's move on.
No, I think so as well. So I do something, it's not like I have a rule at my house with my kids, but my kids come to me and they're just like, I don't want to go to school today. I will allow like at least one day out of that week to be like, okay, you don't have to go to school. And, so they don't tell me that, but it's like, my stomach hurts. And I know it's like, no, you just want to.
Do they have to stay in bed all day, or can they go out and play? Or is it like, mental health?
Depending on how I feel. Because to be honest, when they leave for school that day, that impacts my mental health in a positive way. So when I find out that they're staying at home, I'm like, it really changes my mood, changes my energy a little bit, because some of the things that I thought I was going to get done or whatever, sometimes my day shifts because now I have to think about these little people at the house. And so
these people are like 13, 14, 15. We talking about, sis? It makes me think, what are you actually doing with your days? While the kids are out for, we were talking about that.
I spend most of my day on the phone with Monica. She's on the computer, I'm doing something, and we're just constantly working. But for me, when I get in the zone, I don't like to be bothered. And so my kids come in and, can you order something from DoorDash? It's like, no, this is not a get out of jail free day. But I do understand that if you're having something going on and you don't want to go to school, maybe you're feeling some kind of way about something that's happening that I don't know anything about, or you just don't feel like going. that's okay up to like one day out the week. I'm not sure if the district would agree with that, but that's pretty much what me and my kids have been
We won't tell them unless they watch the show.
Right.
Eventually, they'll catch on.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's okay, but I wanted to jump into the topic today about Malia, Chris the barista.
Oh, bring it. I want to hear your thoughts.
Well, my thoughts are, I understand that Malia, that she is just wrapping up the semester or quarter, whichever.
Yeah.
And that, she's been saying her goodbyes to folks. But, Chris, the barista, I think he has, something for her, right? He's got a Love Jones going, right? And here's the thing, though. And I was talking to Miss Russia about this earlier. But this has to do with Malia and Chris, the barista. They're kind of in the same place, right? They're both kind of young. They're both kind of starting out. I don't really know what Chris the barista does in his off time. I don't know if he's in school too. It's pretty average. But Malia had only his eyes for the professor. Now the professor is like some 50-year-old bloke and whatnot who I don't know.
I think he's late 30s.
Like handing out A's for A and whatnot. But the thing is that whatever happened to, hey, I'm going to find somebody around my own age because I am on a right in this course with Malia. Chris is kind of in the same place as I am. We both drive, Buicks from the 80s. Why aren't we looking at one another thinking, hey, I have some brains, you have some brawn, and, that depends on whoever has brains and brawn. We can build something, together. It's this thing about these older men. I'm not going to say that the professor knows what he's doing, but men who are successful or have a prestigious profession, they know that they can come to younger women and say, I want something with you. I have something to offer you that the young buck can't. The young buck is trying to have a family, and grow and whatnot. And the old
I think he put himself in the mindset of Chris, like, what would I do in this situation?
And what, because I know older men who have gotten with women who were a bit younger than them, and the older man had like grown children. And the woman said, I don't have any kids. If anything, I was like, well, that's fine. I don't want any at all. So I don't, say, yeah, you.
But don't we think that there's some responsibility on Chris the barista to express himself, ask the young lady out on the date? I feel like a lot of people have this notion where they almost think that you should know that I like you because I'm kind to you. And it's like, now we are associating kindness in our society with a fatal attraction. Me and Kyrie was laughing not too long ago because I like somebody's something and they, and so it's like, am I in love with that person because I liked a lot of their stuff? Like the person's like super dope and I admire what they're doing, right? And so really want to support that, want to get behind it because I'm like, I see what you're doing. You know what I mean? But is showing kindness the new, is that the ticket? I mean,
flirtation.
We just,
I think
it just seems like in society, if we're nice to people, people think you ought to just know what this is now. Or if I'm mean to you, then it's like, dig yourself a grave, right? Mm-hmm. Right. And so it's like, when do we stop assuming that just because a person is nice that they want to be with us? Because I mean, that's kind of egotistical too. Like, girl, he's always asking me if he could hold the elevator for me. Like maybe he's just chivalrous. Maybe maybe he's not interested.
The context clues. We always talk about how clueless that men are, and men don't see signs, and that woman who cares about you. But then when a man is giving these context clues, woman's like, I mean, he didn't say anything. Well, dang nabbit, sis, you bringing over that pound cake didn't say nothing either. I just thought you that a brother had a
pound cake would be a dead giveaway. Yeah.
Is it? I'm just saying.
We had a conversation about that yesterday. Whole cookies thing, like people bringing over cookies, and what does that mean? Like if somebody bakes you cookies.
Okay, are they bringing over cookies or are they bringing over their cookies? Now there's a difference.
A platter of cookies.
Well, they can come on a platter too. Even if they're your own personal.
Yeah, I think it's really annoying when your niceness is taken as flirtation, or you're after that person, or I've always made it a practice. I don't assume anything. So if you're not coming out telling me, I'm oblivious. And that goes from relationships to anything else. Not just sexual attraction. If you're mad at me, I'm not gonna know you to say it. If you're walking around huffing and puffing, you ain't said nothing. I'm sorry, I have no idea what's going on until you speak up. We're adults. Let's talk about it.
So okay, so
experience at the age of 11, and never again, never.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing, right? So is it too far-fetched to believe that Chris wants to maybe have some with this person? But I mean, okay, I'm just going to give you an example. I was spending time with my honey buns yesterday. And one of the things that we were discussing is that women are a prize. Now, they're not some prize that you're trying to grab, or that you're playing games for. But, I think when a man understands that he's found himself a really good thing, really good person, a really good woman, he can feel like he has won the prize. And as long as he keeps that attitude in his head, he's always going to treat her like this woman could have been with anybody else. And she's over there looking fine and smelling all yummy, and she's over here with me. You dig? And so I think that when you don't really look at your woman as the prize, and you're looking at yourself like, well, I'm the prize, B, who you think you are, and whatnot. I think that's when the arrogance takes into place. But yeah, I've often felt that, if you get yourself a really good woman, that you have won, you have won God's prize.
Oh, nice. I like that. Well, to Leah's defense, not to defend her, she did give Chris her business card. So after graduation, if he wanted to pop up, he definitely could. Maybe that would, I don't think that she gave him the card for that reason, but I mean, just stay in touch. The guy did make a pretty, mean cup of Seattle's best.
I mean, if we can be honest, Chris is not Malia's type. So,
I mean, but I think that she would still be like,
I mean, he's gonna be friend zoned, and then eventually his feelings are gonna be hurt. So let's just not carry on the relationship past a certain point, because I mean, he wants something, just how he was so eager to be like, oh yeah, I'm single, I don't got a girlfriend. Like, she clearly knows that he in his head is thinking more. So let's just call it what it is. No, see you around town, see you when I see you. But I don't want to hurt your feelings a couple years from now when you see me boot up with somebody I really want,
Whatever. Well, let me just say this, that I have never been anyone's type. I gotta be honest with you. And I've heard women tell me that before. Like, you are not, like you, sir, are not my type. And I'm like, yeah, but that's okay with the kid, because where am I at? Honestly, you don't have to really be someone's type to win them over with charm and kindness. I'm gonna be honest with you. And I'll be honest with you. I am a doughboy, so I don't have like the six pack like other brothers and whatnot. I'm not a pretty boy, but I've always been able to win women over with charm and just a nice guy.
Are you sure about that? You're not a pretty boy. Somebody say that Uncle Burning love is everything.
But like I said, but
yeah, like I said, I'm being kind. I'm not hitting on.
I hope not. Blood. But the thing is, though, I just think that you have, and okay. So let me say this. I think that maybe a woman needs to go through some bad circumstances, and I hate to say this, but I think after women have been through a number of bad circumstances, then they want to, find the good guy. Now, the problem with that is that if the good guy has been used and abused enough, he's like, nah, Malia, I ain't got time for that, sis. I ain't got time for you right now. You know what I mean? Because I've been hurt. So since I've been hurt, I'm going to have to dog you the way that I've been done. And that's really is. And I've actually had men tell me before that the reason why they don't really think that being faithful is an important thing is because, okay, well, there goes the thumbs down. Thank you, Miss Russia. But the fact, okay, thank you with the teary eyes over here from Corenna. But it's just that, and I think that people use it as an excuse. to just, have bad behavior. But yeah, I definitely think that if you want to build something, and the person may not be your type, because there are plenty of women who trust me are not a man's type, but baby girl can cook and she got some hips, and that's all the brother needs to be over at her house. Now, I'm just telling you what's going on with it. Now, y'all don't want to hear this, but this is the Gospels. The Gospels told by Corwin, Scott, and Luke. Okay?
Yeah.
And Luke.
Ray Scott is speaking from the grave through his son.
I mean, I guess it really depends on what the man is looking for in the woman, and what a woman's looking for in the man, because that works. If a woman only wants to cook, clean, and bend over, then, hey, match made in heaven, Corwin. But there's a lot of women that aspire to do more nowadays.
Hey, excuse me, when did I say that I wanted a bed wench? I mean, when did I say any of that? What I'm saying is that I would just, and I think that men just want someone who's kind and sweet. But on the other side of it, men need to be strong. They need to be they need to be supportive of the woman's dreams. They need to be kind to her, and they need to speak softly to her. I have often said that there is a man named Touch, who I have emulated, if you will, with how to treat your wife. I've had some other bad instructors, if you will, that didn't teach me very good. And, but anyway, I guess we got on topic. But yeah, I do think that if Malia did connect with the professor, I think he would have her grading, the papers of the students and whatnot, and he would be out with his other piece and whatnot. I think that Chris, who's like, man, I got God's prize over here, bruh. Man, let me go do her dishes now.
I mean, he's a barista, so, I don't think, I definitely think he could bust some suds. But I think when it came down to the professor at the very end, at the very end of the chapter, it became clear who the professor was. I think he's doing a little bit of dating with the students, or at least they're crushing on him. I think Malia knows more just like vanity than a possible relationship. So Corwin,
I've always believed.
So the next topic was actually.
Huh? No, I was going.
I was looking at our.
No, I have often said that some men are very moldable. They're like clay, and when they get, and when they are in the hands of the right woman, she can make that man become something. Now, men don't need a woman to be their mother and tell, well, you really should go to school. But some people, they can really be great if they just have the right inspiration in their lives. And there's nothing like a loving, supportive woman that can do that. And I'm just going to end it on this note. And I've often said this before, that a good woman can make almost anything bad tolerable to a man. Almost anything. I don't care what he's going through.
High hopes. Chris and Malia thing, he is team Chris all the way, baby. Put it out there, so we know where you stand. I think the next section was you, Kyrie.
Yes, we have some fan questions for our author, Ms. Corenna. Our first question comes from Tina in Florida. What inspired you to write Rose City?
The idea I had for Rose City came about when I was about 13. So this is something that I have been working on a long time. It was just an idea that I had from this movie. Originally in my mind, I think I saw it as this young lady or young woman working for her father, and her father had borrowed some money or something like that from somebody else. It was kind of set in a different time, and the father couldn't pay the money. So this bad guy, basically, he comes in and he's like, I'm going to take your daughter as my ransom for this. And it turned into something. And so from there, I just kind of kept on with that theme a little bit. And I have just been tweaking it over the years. So that's kind of where that idea originally came from. At that, like I said, it was at the age of 13 when it came a dope story. So over the years, I just started thinking about it a little bit more and more and more. And it was actually 2007 when I grabbed a piece of paper and a pen and like had a whole Rose City book. And I started really writing it out. And the story changed a bit, but it was kind of still under that premise of like somebody's father did something with someone, and now this other person is coming in. It gets kind of tricky. So.
Okay, we actually have another question from Ron in Pittsburgh. Hey, Ron. Ron asked, Corenna, how did you develop the character Malia?
So I want to first say the character Malia is not me. That is something that people say, well, is that like based off like your life? And I'm like, absolutely not. Malia is way too cool for my taste. And it's just not me. I'm pretty opposite and pretty boring. So how I developed the characters of Rose City and specifically Malia, I took qualities about her that I admired, like the fact that she was ambitious, the fact that she was goal oriented, and you know, she was this woman who was focused on building her career and her life and getting her education and different things like that together. So I think I pulled from like even people that I knew around me. Like I wanted to make her feel like a real human being. And so things that I admired from family and friends and, you know, just people that I came in contact with, I think I used all of that data to create her.
Nice. This question comes from Celine in Tacoma. What are some of the biggest challenges you face as a writer?
I think one of the biggest challenges I have faced as a writer, especially because I have another book out, and that's totally different. It's called Daily Empowerment for Successful Living on Amazon now, right? So that book is very, very different. It's all about self-help and motivation and believing in yourself. This story is completely different. So the challenge that I had as a writer was really kind of crossing over. And then once, not to say that I'll never do like another self-help book or something that's spiritually or mentally, emotionally empowering, because I definitely will. But I definitely think that the challenge that I faced was really believing in my ability to do this. Like I said, I wrote the story, been working on it, but it had become more of a hobby for me. My dad was a writer. And I remember as a little girl, like I would see my dad at the kitchen table, you know, at 2:00 in the morning with a lamp with no shade on it, you know, because he needed extra light, and he had a typewriter. He was real old school. He didn't do the computer thing. So he had his typewriter and he would just type up these stories. And so I always saw him working on something like that. But when I switched over and I started to really focus on this book, a big challenge was, how is this book going to be received? There's going to be some naughty words. There's going to be some, you know, adult themes. There's going to be a lot of things that are going on. And how will I be able to put this work out and stand behind it? And so I really started to talk to like my friends and my family about, hey, this is my dilemma. I got this story and I think the story is pretty dope. However, I do feel that people see you in society as like a certain kind of way, and your mother, your wife, you know, you can't do this. And so just by talking to you guys, we're just like, do it. It's a story. It's a story. Like these same people who will criticize writing like this because they think it's out of your norm, we'll sit back and watch The Equalizer, and we'll be like, I love Denzel Washington's movie, right? So that was my biggest challenge, really just believing in the writing enough to say, I'm not worried about other people's thoughts on what I'm doing. And if this is a little dark, if this is a little twisted, if it's a little weird, just believe in yourself, and your tribe is going to come and they're going to fully support that. So I would definitely say that because of you guys, you know, like you're my brother, you're my best friend, and you're here, you're supporting me. So you guys' strength really gave me strength.
Okay, well, thank you. The next question comes from Xavier in Georgia. Corenna, how do you handle writer's block?
Writer's block is definitely real. I heard somebody say that there's no such thing as writer's block. You just have to figure out how to just keep going. And so sometimes when you're working on something, you need to find inspiration. So when I hit moments where I'm just like, not really sure like how this story is going to go or this way, sometimes I'll just start bouncing ideas off of like people that I trust, like yourself and Kyrie, or sometimes I'll just take a little bit of a break. Like weird, I'm not gonna say it's weird, but things inspire me. Like I'll be working out and I'll be listening to a song there have been so many times where I was working out and I was listening to music and whole scenes came to me. So what I have found out that if I'm struggling in a certain area when I'm writing and I'm not really sure where to go, I need to stop for a minute and I need to find inspiration. So whether that's like watching TV, whether it's talking to somebody, whether it's continuing trying to just like brainstorm ideas of where this story could possibly go next that might make sense, just trying to find inspiration. So that's what I do.
Nice. This question comes from Paris in Seattle. What are some of your favorite books or authors?
So I like most people will say, what is your favorite this or favorite that? I really don't have a favorite anything, which is quite weird. But some people that I really enjoy, like their writing, it's like Toni Morrison, Zola Neale Hurst. Who else? I'm in love with a poet. His name is Pablo Neruda, and he's from South America, and I think his work is amazing, and I really enjoy it. And so I just try to read different books, different genres from different people. I loved Maya Angelou. She was somebody that, I mean, everything she wrote to me was just golden. So those are a few people that I really admire.
Well, thank you. The next question comes from Paris in Seattle. And it is, what are your favorite books or who are your favorite authors?
You just read the same question.
That's a rip.
Oh, sorry. Well, okay. So, this question comes from Kit in Ohio. Do you have any upcoming projects?
Definitely. I'm working on another project, which is called Melvin's World, and Kyrie, she is the co-author to that. And I'm going to let her explain a little bit about Melvin's World because we're super excited about that project.
So Melvin's World is, well, we first had this idea. We were talking about bad dates. And so we were coming up different scenarios that could possibly happen on a bad date, things that we've heard in the past, you know, and making up stuff because we be joshing around with ideas and, you know, all that stuff. And so I think you had the idea of the guy coming and he's like dressed in 90s gear. He's talking about 90s stuff and spitting out 90s facts and stuff. And so we just start ping ponging ideas about this bad date scenario of this guy that he's like, he seems to be stuck in the 90s and he doesn't realize like we're in 2000s right now. Like what's going on? And then it just kind of started developing into a book.
Yes, and we have created an entire world around Melvin. And so we were like, how do we make it where Melvin is stuck in this time warp? Is it a mental thing? And we were like, no, let's take it a step further. The time that he lived outside of Atlanta, the whole town itself is stuck in a time warp, and they don't even realize it. And so it's like, in the movie Silent Hill, when you go into Silent Hill, there's like this fog and it's like, well, what happened to the weather, right? As you go in and then you get over there, whatever, right? So when people go into Melvin's World, it's kind of like this little hazy thing and it's like a blast from the past. So you can go in and out, but there's a lot of craziness because there's a mayor who has fought to keep Melvin's World right where it's at, which is like stuck in like 1992. So there is no 5G, there is no high-speed internet. It's very, very Christian conservative in a very funny way because all of us grew up in very overly Christian conservative households. And so we're like poking fun of all these like crazy narratives where like they don't even have like a mall or real shopping centers. Like people go to like a thrift store and that's like the big thing to do. So it's funny. So when Melvin does leave this little town or this little whatever, he goes into Atlanta and he works and he has two friends and they're kind of on the nerdy side too, but at least they're like nerdy 2023, right? So yeah, go ahead.
Ma'am, I think you have just pretty much told what it is, so they may not have to buy it now, but we appreciate that synopsis. Thank you.
No, there's
Save something for the reader.
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
That's the tip of the iceberg. Like Melvin's World is deep. It is hilarious. And that's what we wanted to make it because Like Rose City is a pretty, like, it's a very drama filled book, and like it talks about a lot of dynamics that families are really going through in people. So it's like real world. So it's cool to explore that. But with Melvin's world, it's just everything funny that we could possibly think of. So there's plenty of twists and turns.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very fun, it's a very fun book to read and to share with your friends and family. Definitely.
So that's all for this week's episode of Rose City, the After Show. We hope that you enjoyed our discussion. Don't forget to tune in next week when we will delve into episode 3 and talk about that. If you haven't already read the book, what are you waiting for? I mean, this is going to be juicy. So the first 3 chapters on Kindle Vella is free. And I want to actually mention, I've had people say, well, I've gone to Kindle and I don't see it. Kindle Vella is its own app. So you want to go on to the Kindle Vella app, and that's where you'll find Rose City. So there's no reason for you to, not read it. The first 3 chapters are free. So anyway, we hope that you will come back and join us next week. We love hearing from our readers. Please send us your questions, any ideas that you might have. Okay. And so you can also find us on Rose City, the After Show on Facebook. All the links will be provided in the description. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you again next week. Thank you for joining us here in Rose City.